think it's going to surprise people.
You kind of sit there and go, how did they do that?
It's going to be different from any superhero movie ever made.
There's no one better in the world to direct The Suicide Squad than James Gunn.
I was excited with an opportunity to be able to do The Suicide Squad in the way it could be done from my point of view.
This one is completely unique. This is a gritty 1970s war movie combined with the brilliance of James Gunn's characters and comedy.
You need your director to set the vibe.
The Suicide Squad is just a twisted fantasy of characters.
Within each of our characters, there's a certain beauty within most of them. Some of them are just pretty crappy through and through.
Be like a douchey Captain America.
The guy who believes in peace at any cost, no matter how many people he needs to kill along the way.
Okay, I got it.
Hey, John Cena.
Never settle back like you think you know where this is going, because you don't.
As soon as you have some sense about what's about to happen next, James comes in.
Everyone's exploding. Genitals, heads, arms, legs.
It's like a big, massive graphic novel brought to life.
This is by far the biggest movie I've ever made.
I don't think that you know what to expect.
Don't get too attached.
This has been truly the greatest, most exciting journey of my life making this film.
Cut, that was great. So, that was it. What do you guys think of that? New clip we just saw. Anyway, I can't wait for everybody to see The Suicide Squad in theaters all the way in August 6th, 2021. We're still working on it, but man, I am so excited for everybody to see it. And I am grateful for everyone out there in the DC universe who came and checked out and hung out with us for a little while and saw this train wreck that would have gone perfectly smoothly if not for Michael Booker. So, thank you guys.
Way to go, Viola and your team for the win. Ça va, DC Fandome? I'm Terry LTM, your French host, and I've got a big admiration for James Gunn and the cast. What a great teamwork. Now I'm even more excited for the Suicide Squad movie than before. How about you? Tweet us at #DC Fandome. And next, we have a very special DC fan guest with a question for Idris Elba. Gael, mon fils, take it away.
Idris, you're a sport fan. What kind of training did you do for your role in the Suicide Squad?
Okay, so hi Gael, Idris. So yes, I am a sports fan. I am a fan of all sports, but I played basketball, football, cricket, hockey as a kid, and then as an adult I did kickboxing and a little bit of boxing. When I was training for this film, because there was a lot of work that we had to do, I basically didn't do a sport. I did a sort of general training package, which was more centered around my kickboxing training. So that's lots of circuits, lots of cardio work, a little bit of weight training to get those big muscles up, and yeah, essentially working on that particular film, the work rate was so high. We were training every day on the job. So that's me.
Turns out Gael isn't the only tennis player who is a massive DC fan. Now let's check in with two other mega fans who, like us, share a mutual love for Wonder Woman. Tennis star Venus Williams and director Patty Jenkins.
Venus Williams, I'm so psyched that I get to meet you. It's amazing. It's so funny because here I am making Wonder Woman, and I'm constantly inspired by the different Wonder Women in the world, and you're like a quintessential one.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you too. Congratulations. You look amazing. I love your style, but more than anything, I love your work.
Thank you.
To talk to you about it because I've got questions.
I know, me too. So I love the fact, it's very funny because now has come this time that I'm getting to make the Wonder Woman film, but there are so many people like both of us who grew up looking at Wonder Woman, and I don't think that people understood the significance of who she was in the world. So I would love to hear, I'm like so interested that you were a Wonder Woman fan too, and like, what's your history? How did you get into her?
Yeah, so for me, I grew up on Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, right?
Oh yeah.
She was beautiful and she could do anything and she saved the world. And that for me was my first introduction to Wonder Woman. And it was so iconic. And then after that, actually I was more introduced to Linda Carter as Wonder Woman and then on to DC Comics. So actually Wonder Woman was my first introduction into comics at all. And it really just started there.
If you had to create a superhero, like what would you add to the party?
I gotta say, I was just talking to Jim Lee and we created a superhero named, ironically enough, I can't believe no one thought of this, Venus.
That's amazing.
So this superhero, she is antimatter and, you know, the Monitor and the anti-Monitor, so she's somewhere in between and lives in the space between matter and antimatter. We just started talking and creating this character, so I think that's it.
I love the sound of that. And I also love, like, it's funny that we've had so few, like, well, there are plenty of great female superheroes, but so few of them have risen to a huge amount of focus. And I like that adds this whole other thing to the party, like many other the male superheroes have branched out to all of these different dimensions. That's a great one to bring forward.
I think so, and I think in my head, to me, there's good and bad in her. So she's trying to always stay towards the good, but she has tendencies.
It's been interesting, kind of modeling power and grace and beauty yourself. Like, how has been taking on that role yourself in this world been?
I really just try to be my best.
Yeah.
Be who I am, and most of all, I want to be proud of who I am and what I do when I look back and not cringe and say, my God, did I do and say that? That's not the memory I want.
Yeah.
I want to look back and be proud of how I've handled all of my moments. And in doing that, it's motivating to others. And you never know what's going to be motivating to someone else. And there's so many things that have motivated me that other people have done. They never even knew that they touched my life. And so just by the simple act of being positive, allowing the wins and the losses and the tough spots to just roll off of you. You never know who's watching, who you inspire. And quite obviously, Wonder Woman does inspire lots of women in that sense.
Yeah, and you do too, and that's another thing is like, what I like is Wonder Woman always surprised me, you know? She always surprises me by not having to be showy about her power and not having to be belittling or not having to be all these things that we sort of saw power meaning. You're kind of defying all of these things now as an entrepreneur, because we all knew of you as a great tennis player, but then you've turned around and like started this amazing clothing line.
Yeah, there really is no limit. And with my activewear brand 11 by Venus, that is honestly the value of it, is that you're going past the 10, you don't set a limit.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Being well, being positive, all those things help you to get past your limits. So you do have to take care of yourself so you can get there. And we always say better, not best. So best is a moment. I won Wimbledon at some point, but then maybe I didn't win the next year and someone else was the best at that moment. But if you're always going for better, then you're constantly transcending that moment best.
That's really cool. I love 11. I got a chance to sneak peek your Wonder Woman inspired line, which is so awesome. And here's what I like about it so much. And it's funny because it doesn't surprise me that it came from you at all. When I first came to the Wonder Woman brand, people either wanted to go too hard or too soft. It was like, is she masculine or is she feminine? And it was an interesting thing that it was when a bunch of women showed up that we were kind of like, no, it can be both. So I love that you as a designer are, of course, like speaking my language of like, oh, that's got such edge and awesomeness to us, but to everybody, but it's not leaning, it's not about being a woman or a man.
I agree with you. Women are powerful and men are powerful too. So you don't have to try to be either or.
Yeah.
We all have an innate power in ourselves.
So how did you approach the line?
I really wanted to do something that really represented Wonder Woman, but in a less traditional sense.
Yeah.
So it's away from the red, white, and blues, but focused on the stars. And especially with, of course, Linda Carter, I'm inspired by that. And I have to say, every time I design an outfit for the Olympics, it's designed after Wonder Woman. So I have like this inspiration behind it. And every 4 years, this outfit that I wear is inspired by Wonder Woman. But this time I wanted to stick with the symbolism of her and not necessarily that color palette. So that's how we came up with this sparkling star, black and white. Anyone can wear a black and white, and there's gold in it as well. And then these elements of surprise and wonder. And so we have these crystals with the amazing Wonder Woman crest.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
I think we talked about this already, but your first memory of Wonder Woman and kind of, well, you can talk about that, but also like connect that memory of Wonder Woman to where you are now. Film.
Yeah.
What's that feel like? And does it feel full circle? Because to me, it feels like something you were meant to do.
Here's what's interesting about it. So my first memory of Wonder Woman is my mom never let us watch TV, and or alternately, we didn't have a TV. So I saw it at a friend's house, and I just remember just like the catnip zeroing in on it. And immediately the thing that it turned into was the role play on the schoolyard. I was in elementary school, and everybody would play who they were. And I remember it became imperative to get out onto the yard first so that you could declare you were Wonder Woman. So all these years later, when it became something I got to do, there were lots of Wonder Woman fans, but it was very important to me that whoever did the movie was a fan, and I was. So I found myself in this situation where it's both totally surreal that you get to be the one to do it after having a childhood connection. On the other hand, I was like, well, I don't know who else is a fan here trying to direct this movie, but I know that I am. So I'm happy that it's somebody who can be a guardian of that legacy, you know? And that was the first thing I did was call Linda Carter. And I called Linda and I said, you're going to read in the trades that we're doing a new Wonder Woman, and I want you to know we're not here to reinvent Wonder Woman or redesign Wonder Woman. I simply want to take the torch of something you gave to me and pass it forward to the kids of the next generation and people of the next generation. And so I want to continue that. She's been a dear friend ever since, but it was about kind of honoring that legacy.
Okay, so why do you think that it's important to not only have real but fictional role models that are like Wonder Woman?
My mother is a feminist and like really shielded me in a way from a belief that I would hit limits. And so I feel like between the Wonder Womans of the world and the way that I grew up, nobody was ever telling me I couldn't. And I was so I was able to look at other women in the world doing incredible things. And, you know, athletes and actresses and, you know, scientists and all of these things and think like, oh, okay, cool. I wasn't focusing on that it wasn't possible. I always thought it was perfectly possible. It took many years for me to see how far behind we still were in so many ways. And that's too bad. But I think that that's always been my goal, is to be a part of like, let's not fight and let's not justify and do all of those things. Let's just assume, of course, it's possible that all of these people can do so many things. So it is the seeing it and seeing people like you out in the world doing incredible things that, of course, makes it seem attainable to other people.
I love that. I feel like we grew up in the same home.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to say can't. You were in major trouble if you said that. We weren't really allowed to watch TV unless it was educational programs. So I think we have a lot of stories. A lot of stories we could share.
I know.
In the multiverse, you lived like right there too, but just another planet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think that your parents, or of course I faced a lot of blocks, but it wasn't like I wasn't thinking there was going to be sexism that held me back at all. I was absolutely just propelling forward. And so I think that's where like having an idealized world and being raised in a place where you believe that sort of thing is possible makes a big difference. Like you can do things. And so yeah, modeling it for kids and people is amazingly important.
Extremely important. What do you think sets Wonder Woman apart from other superheroes?
I think it's her moral hopes for mankind. I can't think of any other superhero who, I think a lot of them who have great morality, of course, and lots of complex things, but someone whose mission even is to make mankind better. She's not perfect or above it either. So her own struggles to figure out how to use her power and be helpful is so interesting to me. I loved graphic novels right from the start because I loved Little Nemo and Slumberland, and I would look at all of these graphic novels, and then I loved superheroes, so I transitioned pretty easily over to sometimes comic books, sometimes more highbrow, comic book art books and things, and it came quite naturally.
Quite naturally. Yeah. I think you touched on something earlier too, where you talked about you didn't know what blocks you would face.
Yeah.
And I think that happens with Wonder Woman too, that she doesn't know what she's going to face. How were you able to deal with some of the things that you faced on your road to where you are now? And what advice would you give for women who want to follow in your footsteps? And I hate saying women, because if you're a director, you should be the best director. If I'm a tennis player, I should be one of the best tennis players to ever play. Why should I have to be singled out for these other things? So regardless, sometimes this is how the world looks at us, and we know that women do face more challenges to get to the top. So what is your advice, and how did you feel when you faced those roadblocks? How did you get through them?
It was after I was successful, actually. After I had made Monster that I started to see, I'm a woman director. Oh, I wasn't thinking about that. And all of a sudden I started to see limitations or hopes or wants or expectations on me because of that. And that was when it really surprised me. It's because I thought, I wasn't thinking about being a woman. I'm just a director. And yes, I make movies starring women, but we're not women films. We're just making films. Almost Wonder Woman-like. I've always tried to say, that's their problem. Like, this is their problem. I'd love to help you with it by surprising you with what I can do. But I have to focus on what I'm doing over here and do the best job I can while you get over your expectation of what people can do. I can't be bothered. And I want to always be a part of the voice of change in as big of a way as I can. But also not let that get in your head. So I try to just aim to be end-minded,
Last questions from my end is, let's talk about the Amazons in Wonder Woman and how amazing that they look in their outfits and how boss they are. Whoa. I love all of that. Can we talk about stone women, costumes, and all of that?
There are many set patterns for doing warfare and competition, but they all are very specifically masculine, which you don't really think about until you start trying to design it, and the fighting is, like I said, headbutting and so getting into what they would do, what competition would be, how it would work, and what kind of clothing they would wear. It's not unlike you and how you dress and the things that you design, where it's like they don't need to be sexed up in an inconvenient way, but they also wouldn't not care about what they look like. They'd also care and have ownership in what they're thinking, that what they're putting on is both functional and cool. It's a fun thing to try to represent an entire world in this incredible tribe of Amazons. It reminds me of the kind of sports I've watched you do, so that makes me so happy.
Stay in touch. I love this whole conversation.
I do.
We're in the same home.
I know. And I mean it when I say, it's so funny, because I really do sit around and talk about what Amazons are and what Wonder Woman is, and you literally are out there in this world walking around, demonstrating it all the time. And that's what's so cool, is being the director of it. Sometimes people will say, I've never seen a movie like that before. And I'm like, yeah, but you see the women, you've seen the women, you've seen people like you. So it's interesting that it's such an unusual thing. So nice to meet you. What a pleasure. What a pleasure. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye. Bye.
Wow, I had no idea Venus was such a huge DC fan like us. Not only do we here in the DC Fandome want to know what you out there in the fanverse think, but we also want to know what you can do. We asked and you didn't disappoint. You sent in the best of your best cosplay and fan art, and here just a sample of the amazing talents out there in the DC Fandome.
That one was amazing. See, Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl. I miss all those things. Joker. Batman, Deathstroke, Harley Quinn, Penguin. That's the third one. That was Flash. Poison Ivy. I don't know. Harley Quinn, Joker.
Is a boss. It is someone who's confident, reaches their goals, and uses their inner strength as a superpower to get through life. You do not want to miss this next conversation as we gathered some of the most electrifying females from Megan Good to Candy Spadin, the new Batwoman, Javisha Leslie, and more for a conversation we called Boss, Female of Color, within the DC Universe, moderated by celebrity DJ D Nice and Grammy Award-winning singer Estelle.
What's a boss?
What's the boss? What's the boss?
What's a boss? What's a boss? What's a boss? What's a boss? It's me. That's me.
That's me.
That's me. What's happening, folks? How you feeling? Welcome to the DC Fandome. My name's Estelle, and
my name is D Nice, and welcome to Boss, Females of Color within the DC Universe panel.
Right, we're going to start off by introducing some of the panelists today. Megan Good, who plays Darla Shazam on Shazam the film.
And I'm a big fan of this show.
Iris West Allen
plays Iris West Allen on The Flash.
We got Nafisa Williams, who plays Anissa Thunderbird Blackbird on Black Lightning.
Yes, and we have Chantel Tweed. She plays Grace Joy on Black Lightning.
We got Javicia Leslie, who plays Ryan Wilder, a.k.a. Batwoman, on Batwoman. Hey.
We also have Anna Jope, who plays Coriander on Titans.
Okay, Starfire.
Hey, we got Damaris Lewis. My little sis, I love her.
Blackfire.
Plays Blackfire on Titans.
And we have Tala Ash, who plays Tarazi on DC's Legend of Tomorrow.
Awesome. So, we want to start this off with taking a minute to congratulate the newest boss of the entire group, Javicia Leslie, the first black actress to play Batwoman.
She's the second Batwoman, actually.
Only a few iconic black actresses, Eartha Kitt, Halle Berry, and recently announced Zoe Kravitz. I don't have to hang around the Batcave, but they're Catwoman. Javicia said she want to be Batwoman. So, that's a huge thing. So we want to congratulate you and big you up for even doing that. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much.
So awesome.
Well, who was kind of like your blueprint? Who do you think? Who was the person that you said, "Oh, this is why I want to do this"?
I've always truly admired Eartha Kitt, but I admire Eartha Kitt even outside of acting. I love her for her activism and the fact that she used her art for activism. And just her mentality in general, the things that she would say and how dynamic they were, and then just as a woman and the power that she had as a woman.
That's incredible. Do you got a question?
Yes. I have a question for Anna. How's playing the role of Starfire changed your life?
It's a big question. I think as many people know, when I was cast, there was a lot of backlash. Because people were upset that some people were upset that it was a black woman that they cast, and I had to lean into my friends and my family and my faith, I guess, in a way that I haven't ever really had to do before, and also it's been incredible to see what that meant for a lot of people. A lot of marginalized people reach out to me, be it black or gay or trans or whatever, and it's incredible to be, even if some small inspiration for them. So I guess in those ways.
It's definitely important during this time as well.
I'll throw one up to anybody who wants to answer. Like, when you're a BIPOC, seeing someone who looks like he played a character you've grown up loving is super powerful. I know that playing Garnet Now, how does it make you feel knowing that you may be someone's first introduction to the world of superheroes? Like, what is the thing? How does it feel when the kids react to you or the people say?
I remember really early, we started our show in 2014, and I remember shortly after we aired, I remember getting a tweet from a mom, and she was saying that her and her daughter were watching The Flash, and her daughter was watching my character, and she was like, Mommy, Iris West is so beautiful. She looks just like me. Does that mean that I'm beautiful too? And she tweeted that to me, and I get teary-eyed to this day thinking about it. And I remember tweeting her back and saying, yes, tell your daughter we are beautiful. Like, remind her we are beautiful.
My daughter's 8 years old, and when I told her that, I was doing this with you guys, she was like, are you serious? Can I come here? Can I say it?
Okay, so for Damaris, all right, so you've been in this industry as a whole for a while, right? Whether it's you being a model, you've danced for Prince, like you've been a dancer, you've done some things in your life, and I've been part witness to a lot of it, and now you're a superhero. I remember seeing you on the screen and thinking to myself, she better work. That's literally my first thought upon seeing you in your role. As you move forward in your career, what exactly was the point of pivot? What was the point where you said, I'm going to do this? Go.
First of all, full circle moment, just the fact that you and Dee have been part of my journey. I think are always showing up. The pivot for me was when I started getting booked for being different. And that's when I realized that being different was my superpower. I have spent my entire life, I had the luxury of working with Prince and having him being my mentor. And this is a person who prided himself on being different. But until it happens to you, you don't really believe it. And so, modeling is one beast. Dance is another beast. Acting is another beast. And I've always been that kid in the corner. I've always been that person that thought a little bit differently. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of examples of what happens when you think differently.
I will tell you, you were a superhero when I first met you. I met you because of Estelle at one of Prince's shows.
Wow.
Yeah. The way you were walking across the stage, it was like, well, who is this? Like, it was just so confident to walk across the stage like that with Prince. And to see the type of success you're having right now, we all knew it was going to happen, and we're all proud of you.
I love y'all. Thank you.
It's awesome. So, Chantel, I have a question for you. So, who were your role models, whether females or just anyone in the industry? Like, who inspired you?
I think growing up, I had Maggie Chung, who did a lot of Wong Kar-wai films, as someone I admired a lot, and Sandra Oh, who broke a lot of barriers with the work she's done. But I also love doing theater. So a lot of actresses who've done theater and film and television is something I admire a lot, like Tessa Thompson or Felicia Rashad and Kate Blanchett. So I love actresses who use their craft not just as a way of exposure, but really to like as a craft, digging deep and using it in a way that can change lives in their own lives. Like my grandmother, who left Vietnam during the war with her 10 kids on a boat. Wow. And that for me, the personal heroes in my life, I think probably have marked me the most.
Wow, that's awesome.
How do you liberate yourselves and or subsequently your characters from the hypersexualized, exotic stereotypes that can be attached to Black and multicultural women? And what advice can you offer young girls about how to reclaim their sexuality, power, and confidence?
For me, one of the reasons that I was really excited to play Darla Dudley is because she's actually 8. And for me, I have come from, throughout my 20s, I was very much like that sexy girl, the love interest, the whatever it may be. And so breaking out of that space in my late 20s was really difficult. And what I learned was the fun thing is there's nothing wrong with owning your sexuality and wanting to be beautiful and sexy and strong and all those things. But also it's about, you know, as she was saying earlier, humanizing whatever character you are now living and breathing and finding the things about them that are human and real that people can relate to, that are not just an idea of like, oh, that looks great and like that's awesome, but like who is this person at the core that makes her not just relatable to other people, but especially as being Black women, relatable as a Black woman, because that experience is unique. No matter what the experience is as a woman, you're Black first, you know? And so I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to owning a certain part of it and being happy because we are women. You know, why should we not lean into all of who we are, but also being able to lean into all of it and being proud of all of it and figuring out how that works for each character. And for me with Darla Dudley, that was like a dream come true because I pretty much am like size somewhere teeter between like 9 and like 50 something in everyday life. So it was nice to not lean into the sexuality at all and lean into the goofy side of me that really only my husband and like my close friends get to see all the time.
Now, firsts are important, and I think a lot of us here are firsts, seeing Black superheroes and people of color being superheroes, period, and women of color being superheroes. Nafisa, as half of the popular Anissa Grace couple on Black Lightning, what have you learned from our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQIA plus community? What's been the feedback? What's been the thing? I feel it when I play Garnet, which is a whole other character. But like, what's been the feedback? What's been the thing? Because that's something that is wide and broad, and you stand for something major here. You know.
Thank you, and I'm really honored to play this role, the first Black lesbian superhero, right? Because when I think of that, I think about all the Black lesbians who have not been able to visually see themselves when they go to the cinema or they watch their favorite TV shows. And for me, it's one thing of knowing that there was a void for it, but when you're in that role and you're getting the feedback, you realize the importance of it and how much it's necessary and how much it's needed. And for me, the feedback that I once got, and I feel like Candace, I get emotional, and this is one that sticks out to me every time someone asks me this question, is I was at a Comic-Con and a young woman came up to me and she was full on tears and she said, I feel normal being a lesbian after seeing Thunder. So for me, my job is done. I feel like God has used me in that sense. As storytellers, I believe it's our purpose and it's our duty to tell stories that are important, especially for our culture.
Batwoman is also lesbian.
So that's the biggest reward of all, knowing that people are seeing themselves. Little girls, when they see my character, they see themselves in the hood with cornrows. We didn't have superheroes who looked like us before.
So speaking of first, as the first Muslim superhero on television, Tala, how important is it for your role as Zari be authentic to your heritage?
It's really important. I think it's more important that it's kind of authentic to her heritage. Obviously, I bring myself to the role and what I am, which is an immigrant, which is an Iranian American. But when I heard she was going to be the first, and I say Muslim American because I think it's really important that we keep the American part of it, because it's so easy to otherize in these situations. And so when it was first Muslim American superhero, I felt the weight of that. And I think the really smart thing that my show did, which every show should do, is that when they hired me, they hired a Muslim American writer.
Wow, that's great.
Shout out to Oba Muhammad, who is a wonderful writer. So when I heard Muslim American superhero,
this was from season 5 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
This right. Representation matters so much. It's so important that like little brown girls all over this, not just girls, all little brown children all over the world are seeing someone like me and being like, oh, that like opens my mind, that opens possibility. But also people who, are in maybe parts of our country who will never be exposed to a Muslim American. If they can connect to the character, I feel like we've done our job, And that's just what we're trying to do. I
think it's great that you recognize that it's not just about little girls, because there are some boys of color that are watching all of you that are feeling inspired because of the roles that you're playing. So thank you to all of you for doing that, being great representations. So I want to throw a question out there. Anyone can answer. So which of your characters' superpowers would you like to have in real life to combat like social injustice that's going on here today?
I would like thunder.
Yeah, everybody has to answer this one.
If they are asking from these characters, I would like to have the power of thunder.
Time travel show, so I have a lot of changes I'd love to make to history. There's a lot of dates. I could there's a date in 2016 in November. I go back
Flash
first.
Well, Corey can set people on fire, which sounds really violent and terrible, but
why not?
I did steal my husband's superpowers in one episode, and became the fastest woman on the planet. So I guess if I had super speed, I would clearly super speed a lot of people out of precarious police interactions.
So my character, Thunder's superpower is super strength. So I use my super strength to arrest the police officers who took the life of Breonna Taylor and countless others. That's all I'm really concerned about these days. So that's what I would use my strength for. As I'm using my personal strength to do it, I think Thunder's strength is a bit more intense than mine. So I definitely borrow her strength for that.
Yes.
I take from a different part of Blackfire has some issues with her family, and that means that she's had to spend a lot of time going inside and trying to figure out why she has those issues. And so that's the thing that I would take and I would give everybody right now. I'd give everybody the ability to go inside and truly ask yourself how we got here.
Yeah, I would use shape-shifting power to swap some people out of the office.
That's a pretty good one.
We were talking about this, Batwoman doesn't necessarily have a superpower, but I do have the ability to put a mask on and do things that I feel other citizens are too scared to do based off of, it ruining their reputation or it putting their family in danger.
What does being a boss mean to you?
I think being a boss is making more bosses. I think that we have to everybody on this call right now has to give it up for the people who came before us, who took the crap, who showed up every single day with the circumstances that they were handed. I don't think they get enough credit. The stunt people, the people behind the scenes who are editing us, the people whose names never get called when people are accepting their awards at award shows. We are here because of previous bosses, and now it's our obligation to reach down and make even more. It's like making sure that every move that I make, the algorithm is real when it comes to social media, and whether we like it or not, we have no idea who's following us or what it's showing up as. And the reality is they're taking what we do and they're mimicking it. So how do you want to be mimicked? And really, how do you want to show up if bossing is a thing that you want to be forever? So first of all, shout out to all the other bosses on this call, and thank y'all for showing up.
Being a boss means following your heart and also being of service to others.
I think to me, being a boss is knowing that it's bigger than you.
I was going to say that, the word boss, and when this panel came up for me, it reminds me, we also get called divas. And the flip side of that is we also get called difficult, bossy. And for me, being a boss, especially a boss as a Black woman, a woman of color, means standing in that, being okay with being labeled as difficult if it means that I have to stand up for what's right and do the right thing. I've had to learn as I get older to not be afraid as a Black woman to speak up, because I've been taught so much in my life to be quiet, be grateful, don't say too much, don't ask for too much, don't disturb too much, just go with the flow. And, you know, in the last several years of my life, I have been able to find my strength in being able to stand up for myself and for others, more importantly. And I think often we get labeled as divas, difficult, you know, and I love that we changed that title into boss, because that is really being a boss. It's really being a boss. Like when I go to work, I'm a boss. I'm a boss for me and I'm a boss for everyone around me, that I will stand up for you. And if that means that I have to take on a label as being difficult to do the right thing, then that's what it takes, you know. And I think that's what we have to do as Black women, is be bosses for each other. So yeah, I'm proud to be a boss.
Yes.
That's good. Thank you for allowing me to be the only man in this conversation.
D-Nice, thank you for being such a blessing to all of us during this pandemic. What you did and took upon yourself to do gave so many of us just light when we truly, truly needed it. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
One more time, we're gonna do a roll call. Okay. Do a roll call. Make some noise for Megan Gay. Make some noise for Jen. Make some noise for Shout Tweet. Make some noise for Jamaica. Make some noise for Anna. Make some noise for Damaris. And make some noise for Tyler.
Hola mis amigos, I'm Damian Moya from Madrid, Spain. Where are you watching us from? Tweet us your location and your favorite DC superhero with hashtag DC Fandome. One of my favorites is Batman. He's smart, successful, cool, crafty, and I don't know anyone who looks better in a mask. But I have to confess, I'm one of those guys who isn't really sure how one Bat can star in so many different stories and in so many ways. Comics, films, TV, games. Don't worry, I'll watch it all. But I can't help think it takes some real world's greatest detective smarts to pull off a strategy like that. How do the folks at DC do it? Well, we're about to find out, because up next we have a panel dedicated to the legacy of Batman and the Bat family. From The Good Fight, please welcome actor and bona fide Batman blur, Nyambi Nyambi.
Hello everyone and welcome to Legacy of the Bat, the DC Fandome panel where we take a deep dive not just into Batman's history, but how he has created and inspired protégés that have grown into an extended Bat family. I'm Nyambi Nyambi and I am pleased to introduce our esteemed panel of Bat experts. So first off, much like the Cape Crusader himself, our first panelist is a legend in the comics industry, Jim Lee.
Hey, how you doing? Exciting to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you. She's the first person to pull Batwoman from the pages of the comics and bring her to life on your TV screens. And soon she'll be ushering an all-new vigilante crime fighter into the world. Please welcome the showrunner for television's Batwoman, Caroline Dries.
Hi.
Yes. You've already seen the big announcement from this next panelist's new video game, Gotham Knights. So please welcome back the creative director for WB Games Montreal, Patrick Reddick.
Hey, how's it going?
Please, everyone, I want to welcome the legendary John Ridley.
Thank you.
Our next panelist portrays one of the most well-known longtime members of the Bat family. He pushed this character into a whole new light when he uttered just 2 little words. From Warner Brothers Television's Titans, it's Nightwing himself, Brenton Thwaites.
Hey.
Brenton, you are the first person to play a live-action version of Nightwing, but it's been a journey over the past 2 seasons of the show, and a pretty bold decision was made to kick off the show by having Robin say 2 little words, the now infamous Batman.
Dick Grayson is not just fighting crime, he's stepping over the line a little bit here. And the Batman was thrown in there to show that he is attempting to break away from Batman and you know, he's kind of sick of fighting crime in Batman's shadow. And that's kind of what season 1 was about. And then at the end of season 2, obviously, he develops into Nightwing, which is a character that, for me, kind of symbolizes putting away his past and finally developing into this character that can lead and that has a moral compass and that can fight crime in the way that he truly believes.
And then having you know, a new Robin come into play with Jason Todd. What was that like to explore in terms of, you know, that relationship?
Jason Todd is a rebellious character who doesn't have the same respect for authority that, let's say, Dick Grayson has. And I think Dick Grayson tries to mentor him and tries to offer up that open channel should Jason want it. And, you know, I think that he watches Jason make a few mistakes and tries to step in, and Jason doesn't want that.
So, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd were both mentored by Batman, but there's another member of the Bat family with a different origin. I'm speaking, of course, about Batwoman, because Batwoman's not a sidekick. She never was a sidekick. She entered the Bat family a fully realized superhero, right?
I think the fun that we had with season 1 is Kate, you know, finding her way into being a superhero. It's all about the learning curve. And then it's the moral responsibility of learning, like, how do I deal with this and how do I best represent the Bat legacy? So it was really just about her arc into becoming the superhero.
It's a very personal story in terms of what Kate Kane is going through. Why was that story so special for you?
So my opportunity as a writer was to say, how do we represent Batman through the eyes of a woman, and in this case, through the eyes of a lesbian woman. And part of her growth was realizing, as Kate, I'm a lesbian and I'm open and out and comfortable, but there's this irony in I put on this costume and I automatically hide that thing that makes me so unique. I think an important story that we tell this season is that Batwoman literally comes out of the closet so that people see not just Kate Kane, who's a cool badass CEO, cool girl. I want to see the superhero that I'm looking up to on the rooftop and saying, oh, that is somebody I could be someday.
You're now poised to break even more ground in season 2 with the first Black actress to ever play Batwoman, which is huge.
It's huge. It's awesome. Kate Kane has disappeared in season 2, and it was controversial to the fans because, of course, they love Kate Kane, and so, of course, we're going to keep her part of the show. But it also gave us this really unique opportunity to create a new Batwoman. And I decided to make up a character named Ryan Wilder, who is the opposite of Kate Kane. Ryan Wilder is a character that Batwoman needs to protect. And so it just really provided a new rich storytelling device for us, and we couldn't be happier to have our new Batwoman.
And as a special bonus treat, she just said it, we have Ryan Wilder herself, the new Batwoman, with us here today. Please welcome Javicia Leslie.
Yeah.
And how does it feel to be the new face of Batwoman?
I found out an hour before everybody else found out. So I was pretty shocked along with the entire world. And then I was like looking through some of the articles, and one of the publications put Javicia Leslie is breaking history by being the first Black woman to play Batwoman. And then it changed for me.
You know, reading the comics and seeing these superheroes as a Black man, I would see him as a white guy. I would just see him as Batman. And so then it allowed me to then imagine myself as Batman. So then for the world to actually see someone playing Batwoman, it's such a huge thing to me, because I feel like it lets people know that any of us can step into the shoes.
What I love about DC, what I love about WB, what I love about Berlanti is that you have these iconic characters, and they've done this amazing job making them so many different ethnicities and shapes and sizes and things that weren't as typical as you may have imagined when you were a kid and seeing them. And what DC has done, what WB has done, what Berlanti has done is they've showed us that you could be anything, no matter what the color of your skin is.
Now, how do you see this incarnation of Batwoman fitting into the full legacy of the Bat?
Well, at first, she doesn't fit. That's the story. She doesn't fit. Literally, she makes it fit her. And in making it fit her, she makes the Bat accessible to this whole other world of people who normally might not have had a hero to look up to. And so she, puts her stamp on the legacy.
All right, Jim. Okay, you've been doing this for a few years, right?
Yes.
Right? For a few years.
Yeah.
You've been around the block.
Yes.
How many times do you think you've drawn Batman?
I've been at DC since 1998. So I figure I've drawn, 22 years? So at least 22 times, but I think no more than 10,000. So somewhere kind of in between the two, yeah.
So what is it about Batman to you that makes his legacy such like a lasting one?
At the core of it, he's the ultimate underdog, right? He's in a world of all these crazy characters with amazing powers, and all he has is his wealth and his smarts and his ambition.
But why did this? What are the step? Net guys, murders. Oh my god. What happened? What's happening, guys? Alright, might work.
Better. I think it's a pretty safe bet that if I'm writing Batman, it's probably a little better than a 47% chance he's going to be a person of color.
Okay.
Have the opportunity to delve into the Fox family. So you have Lucius Fox, this character who has been, other than Alfred, probably the person who's been at Batman's side maybe the longest. But he has a family, and this is a family that has secrets, has kept secrets from one another. It's a little bit different dynamic than the Batman that we've always seen.
So everyone loves Batman. He has millions of fans. He has inspired one of the most badass entourages since the OK Corral. And yet there is one amongst us, it seems smiling already, working on a game where Batman is actually dead.
We wanted to take away any certainty, any feeling of safety, so we could take a Gotham City, where Bruce Wayne has been operating as Batman for like 15 years, all that history with his whole network of allies, and then take him out of the picture. It really demands players figure out, how would I step up and how would I protect Gotham City?
Let's take a quick look at what's coming out of WB Games Montreal next year.
If you're watching this, I'm dead. We both know it won't take long for Gotham's criminals to realize that Batman is gone. Gotham will need its protectors more than ever.
Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, Batwoman, and Red Hood.
Okay, so before we wrap up, we have a fan question brought to you by one of Gotham City's good neighbors, Jake from State Farm. We all know Jake from State Farm. Take it away, Jake.
Jim Lee, hello.
Jake from State Farm.
Wow, I'm a huge fan, and I love your work. I mean, obviously. Okay, let's get to it. So, James from the US asks, when you first started drawing Batman, what or who were your inspirations for your design for that character?
For those of you that collect comics, I think one of my main influences was an artist named Neil Adams. He just brought this, sense of reality, fancy word, verisimilitude to his art. I just looked like it was real, like you go out and touch it. This is before there were movies and TV shows, so this is as good as it got for us. And there was another artist later, Frank Miller, who, I was in college, and Dark Knight Returns came out, and that was real. That changed my life. I mean, that was the story that kind of inspired me to pursue a career in comics. So when I drew my own story in Hush, I actually started out drawing Batman kind of thick and blocky, kind of like how Frank draws it, kind of homage to Dick Sprang, which was an artist from yesteryear. But then as I drew more and more of the character over the course of the year and a half I worked on that project, by the end it was kind of leaner and looked more like a Neil Adams physique. Those are my two influences.
Clearly, we're all big Batman fans here, right? We're all big Batman fans here. That's why we're here. I'm a fan too. This is one of my many statues that I have here. So I have a fan question for all of you. What would you say is your first memory of Batman?
Obviously, Eartha Kitt was a huge influence because she was the first Catwoman. And to see that role and to see her really be her, because that's her personality in general, it really brought like this sexiness to something that was, to me, originally when I was a kid, I felt like it was a boy's world. Then The Dark Knight came out. And that's when I was insanely addicted to the world of my craft, of my art. And to see Heath Ledger and all these iconic actors play these iconic characters is when I became obsessed.
I'm gonna say I'm with Javicia. As a kid, I knew of the world and was a fan of Batman, but it was really the Batman Begins, Nolan's Batman, that really, as an actor, threw me into the world.
I agree. I think that was the first time I saw a superhero movie where I was just expecting it to be a superhero movie, and it was about a character, and it was that, Batman Begins, just how did this boy become this vigilante?
I watched the Adam West TV show as a kid. I remember spending hours playing with the Batmobile and shooting little pellets out of the mortar in the back, and that's kind of my history of the character.
John.
There was a world's finest two-parter from years ago. It was Batman and Superman, who were captured and put into a Soviet gulag in like Siberia. Everything about it was so painful and torturous and grounded, but at the same time, it's about people being heroic when the odds are completely against you.
Patrick Redding.
I think for me, what hit me the hardest was Batman Year One. That struck me the most and made me really fall in love with that character in that world.
Thank you all for watching. Be sure to stick around, and we hope you are enjoying DC Fandome.
Yeah, we are. Yes, no doubt.
So many amazing, world-changing things coming down the Bat Tunnel. But if you can't get enough of the Bat, don't worry, we got more Bat-related news, never-before-seen content, and director Matt Reeves all right here in the DC Fandome. And it's all coming your way, so stay with us.
Stay with us. Good, bro.
There's little bits of there's Batman stuff that is coming in that I don't want to talk about because that stuff is best left as a surprise, and those who get it, and those who don't. But the big Batman mythology character that is coming that we're going to meet this season is Lucius Fox, which is very exciting. Not cast yet, so can't say who's going to play it, but he comes in mid-season and comes in a big way and is pivotal in turning the story around.
Hi, what a Superman.
Is that Wonder Woman?
What?
She's not got much clothes on, has she?
Are you mad?
Do you like my new shoes? They're kind of... Well, I don't know, I just like them. My mum likes them, and I like them. We both like them. I can fight the wind. I can push the wind away. You have to be like sly and like never trusting anyone and kind of really like on the ball.
all working from home. And for the most part, when it comes to the pre-production, the script writing, the storyboards, design work, we've successfully transitioned to working at home. It's, not quite as much fun to not be in the office and have everyone together, but we're doing it. That's not a problem. The thing that's been tough, as these guys have indicated, is voice recording, where, we used to record everyone together as much as possible in a room for the first 3 seasons. Every once in a while, there was someone who couldn't make a session, and we had to pick up later. But for the most part, we bring everyone together, at least in small groups, if not the whole cast. And that obviously has changed. Everyone is mostly recording one at a time from their closets.
Or their son's lower bunk bed that has like sheets and pillows, and yeah, it's interesting.
Next up, we have a special musical performance by Grammy-nominated multi-platinum recording artist Chris Daughtry. Inspired by the Man of Steel himself, the song was the lead single from Daughtry's 2013 album, Baptized, and we're so glad to have him here to perform this today. This is Waiting for Superman.
Superman and Lewis or what? Okay, that's
So
the
Waiting
song.
for Superman.
I can't wait for 1 hour, guys. Nice song, guys. Don't you guys like it? If you like, drop a like. Guys, man, it sucks.
Thank you so much. Make me a peace sign.
Yeah, what?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris Daughtry here again. Hope you guys are digging DC Fandome. Please check out our live from home version of our latest single, World on Fire. Hope you dig it.
We will have the flash cast in 1 hour and 35 minutes, guys. It's just a few young back. Well, next is you get
Just out here, trauma took a beating. Takes more than a feeling, I'm the feeling. Bang, bang, no mercy.
that includes the surprise for all of us. We don't know what the villain is. Leave that. Yeah. Yeah, guys.
I just love how the DC fandom is connecting fans from across the globe. We are all so different, but today we all have one thing in common, our love for DC superheroes. Okay, turning things over to Clara. Clara, take it away.
Thanks, Damian. It's Clara here from the UK, and it is great to be here with all of you. And what an amazing show so far. Are you guys having fun? I know you are, but do make sure you tweet us using the hashtag DC Fandom and let us know how we're doing. Now, when I think about our beloved DC superheroes, I think about how inspirational they all are. I'm talking Superman, Wonder Woman, all of them I love. Look, you can see they always put a massive smile on my face.
Now let's get this party started!
There are so few surprises left in the universe.
This is gonna hurt.
The world is full of monsters, and the only way to defeat them is to become one yourself.
Oh, I love it! The chaos is so invigorating!
Now, we should have known those guys wouldn't take a day off from all the mischief and all the mayhem. And let's just be honest, no one loves the spotlight more than a DC supervillain. So, it looks like it's time for the Hall of Heroes to become the Hall of Villains. And personally, I'm all for it because DC has got the best, the Joker, who has undergone many iterations since his debut in 1940. And although I wouldn't want him plotting against me, I have to say, his choice in lipstick is pretty much perfect. So, let's put a smile on our faces and have an in-depth look at one of the best baddies ever. Here's the Joker.
You can call me Joker.
The Joker is the greatest supervillain ever created.
I was a fan of the comic books, and particularly of the Joker.
Biblical time, David Goliath to Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty. I thought the stronger the villain, the stronger the hero. The Joker sprang into mind because cards were a big part of my family.
It is that carnival mask of a clown that hides the horror lurking just below the surface.
The Joker is a horrific version of Batman, whereas Batman scares criminals, Joker scares the ordinary people.
In the 1950s, you have a censorship movement which leads to the Comics Code Authority, which really is why all characters in the 1950s get goofy and weird.
The writers and artists of the era felt very restricted. It was a dark time for America. There was an urgent need for heroes.
1966's Batman became a pop art campy comedy. Cesar Romero's playful, prank-loving Joker stole the show. As culture took a turn for the revolutionary, writer Denny O'Neil introduced the idea that the Joker was truly insane.
We undid 15, 20 years of lousy comic stuff. So you got a tremendous amount of experimenting.
It left the way for people like me, Alan Moore, to do stories that were beyond the understanding of an 8-year-old.
Batman, the Killing Joke, showed us how deep the Joker's depravity could go.
It's basically a horror story. The Killing Joke was the first time that anybody really started taking him deadly serious.
It's epic. It's Joker's magnum opus.
The Joker stories of the 1980s set the stage for a Joker that would twist the theatrical, colorful with the violence and insanity.
Jack Nicholson as the Joker, that was just everybody's first choice. Goes beyond your expectations just because he's so good.
Even in my own life, people have said, sometimes Jack, relax with the humor.
Oh, I got a live one here.
This does not apply to the Joker.
Gotham City was brought to younger audiences in 1992 when Batman, the animated series, debuted on Fox Kids.
One of the things that informs the Joker is his laugh. His laugh should be like a musical instrument. It should illustrate his mood.
He struck a nice balance between the clown and the killer and really made him a scary character.
Filmmaker Christopher Nolan elevated the comic book film. The gritty, realistic Batman of this Gotham City called for a villain who could challenge him in a way no one else could. From the outset, the choice was clear.
And to me, it was creating a sort of psychologically credible anarchist, a purposeless criminal, a psychopath. To me, that is the most frightening form of evil.
It's somebody without any rules whatsoever. Somebody whose motive is just pure destruction.
Without Batman, I'm not sure that the Joker would exist in the way that he does in our movie.
You complete me.
Joker is one of those rare opportunities you get to reinterpret, bring back to life some character that provides some counterpoint to the good of the world.
The trick was to be incredibly respectful, yet at the same time, reinvent the Joker.
Audiences were in for a laugh when comedian Zach Galifianakis voiced the Clown Prince of Crime, bringing his own brand of humor to the role and new meaning to the words, "You complete me."
They do depend on each other. And what would happen if they both took a step back and understood that to be the situation?
I hate you.
Me too.
The Joker had been taken in brave new directions, but there was still room to push the character even further.
I never really thought about doing a comic book movie. For me, it was more about this idea of doing a film, but about somebody people have no idea who, what, where he came from.
It's a wonderful exploration to take probably the most famous villain. What happens if we humanize this person?
I think part of his transformation is finding his voice, finding Joker. And I think prior to the emergence of Joker, he's struggling with what it is that he wants to say, how he wants to say it.
Every kid loves this guy, and I particularly love just the name Joker. It's fantastic.
There's no definitive Joker. He will be reinterpreted long after I'm gone because he's just such a great character.
Who knew the Joker had such a rich history? But hang on a minute, of course you guys did. You're all the experts. Now, Jim Lee is an expert in all things DC. He is a world-renowned comic book artist, writer, editor, and publisher, and he's got his eye on some supervillain art. Take a look.
Hello everyone, this is Jim Lee again. I'm here with Mohammed Haq, and we are going over his fabulous submissions to the DC Fandome. He is a big Batman fan, and he has a day job, so he does this spectacular artwork in his spare time. And I'm just going to kind of give him some feedback and hopefully kind of encourage him to keep pushing himself, as we should all push ourselves as we try to become and strive to become better artists. And you are here in the U.S.?
California, LA.
Okay, that's part of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's all good. All right, so you're super close to, because I'm in LA too. First off, let me just say thank you very much for submitting your work to DC Fandome. I loved all your single piece illustrations. Is this something that you're doing now professionally? Can you talk a little bit about your work, and do you do panel-to-panel work too, or is it all just single images, covers, that kind of thing?
I pretty much draw or paint digitally for fun, as a hobby. I'm a creative director. I work on figures, collectible figures, pretty much art directing or doing concepts.
It seems like some of these are like almost like poster images. Walk me through like this one, like.
Mr. Freeze is such a cool character. I seen artists draw his costume to be very simple, but I want to see him in more of a armor type, even more of an armor type design.
And then even as you're doing this, are you imagining it in color, even though this is a black and white or tonal drawing?
No, actually, when I draw, I don't think in color at all. I just draw a sketch, and once I'm done, if I feel like, you know what, I could add some color to it, then I'll add some color to it.
The reason why I asked you if thought in color as you did this is because in my head, I'm seeing this in color, right?
What a
I'm
concept
like
art, guys!
Drawing and create the light source using color. I love the tonal graduations, but maybe if there was if the light source are here, like coming out of this gun, what happens to this part of the figure with a stronger light source there, right? This part here, like, suggests to me like you were on this path of.
Well, I like the new suit of the Flash.
There's light up here, and it's casting the shadow
of
this torso on this kind of pelvic area. If it were brighter here, and then here, just in general, like on this side,
right,
and then darker. Maybe that arm, like,
Totally.
What inspired this?
The first issue of Deceased.
Are there other things could have done to maybe get focus up here, where, you know, it starts getting like more out of focus at the bottom, like a little more painterly? Just something to think about. I just think the, you know, your use of color and textures, creating that glistening kind of
Nice look.
gum line, you know, it's really really well done. But again, what happens if it gets a little darker around the fringes?
No, I get what you're saying.
Right.
But we're focusing on the eye right now, right?
Yeah.
So focused, you're not sure what you're looking at.
You know, what happens if you play around with that? You know, I'm trying to have like that light streaming off to the side, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Just like make certain things pop and kind of play around with the contrast, the values of your colors, right? Push it more to the extremes. You're really super solid in this middle ground. What happens if you push the extremes of light and dark to the image? So things to think about.
And we are still waiting for class.
Really solid piece.
I got.
So this Joker piece, same thing with Mr. Freeze. You've got the lettering in here. I feel like you started and then kind of stopped. You were in there, maybe you were gonna go all the way to the top, and then you're like, I've said my piece. I know what would look like. Generally, you should use it as a real part of the composition, right? Even those lettering, right? And what kind of shape it occupies, and it just kind of fits naturally in the same kind of space. You know, kind of creates this squared composition, and I kind of wonder if you know, you have something like that, and then maybe the you know, all that, maybe it falls in like a big ha, you know, or something, right? Where all the lettering.
Or he creates the bat symbol or something like
that. Or even like a shat, or even his shadow, right?
Right.
Like if he's uplit, and then in the coloring of it, the lettering would be darker, and that's how you would see that shadow. Just something to think about. You know, I think because if you're going to add the lettering, I feel like, you know, once you start, you got to think it through and say, okay, what am I doing with the lettering? What role does it play in the composition? What kind of extra thing does it give? What does it unlock? And I think it unlocks a lot. I'll just end with this one. I think this is my favorite piece. I get a Frank Quitely vibe from it, but I also love the way you did the coloring, and I think you did push it on this one. Like the that thin white highlight on the edge is just perfect. You know, it really picks it up, and you know, it's not monochromatic, but you have a red kind of light across all of it, and that's the kind of stuff I love. You know, it's not about local color; it's about colors interacting with the light that's on them, and I think you just really nailed it. And the expression, and even again the subtlety of her, you know, kind of of her hand gesture. I think you really sold it in this one. And that's why you know, that also really works for me as well, right? Yeah, Mohammed, I want to thank you for sharing your talent with us. You know, I looked through all the submissions, and I picked my 5 favorite, and your work really stood out to me as something really unique and special. And I hope that you do more of it beyond just, you know, as
a hobby
or for fun. I think there's a lot of great potential there, and just little things like would elevate it to like the next level up. And just ask that you think about it and maybe challenge yourself next time you sit down and draw.
No, I really appreciate it, Jim. I really do. It means a lot. I'll say I'm self-taught drawing and coloring, all that, but it's your work that actually helped me get where I am right now when it comes to drawing.
Awesome. So, thank you very much. It's very flattering. Yeah.
Those art submissions were scary good. Now, from the page to the screen, actors and artists bring these DC supervillains to life, and in real life, cosplayers do the same thing.
Oh my god, that's up. That's wow! What's it gonna be? Bizarro. Captain Ball. Martian Manhunter. Then Blade. Rocky. Black Adam. Hey, Doctor.
Wow, seeing those incredible costumes makes me realise that I really need to step up my game this Halloween.
Ciao dall'Italia, mi chiamo Andrea De Logo. It's great to be here with all of you in DC Fandome, the ultimate destination for all of us who can never get enough DC. And now, there is even more to love with a new comic series from Milestone. Take a look.
Hello and welcome to DC Fandome and this Milestone Media Panel. My name is Mark Bernardin. I've written on TV shows like Castle Rock and Carnival Row and Star Trek Picard, and I co-host a podcast named Fat Man Beyond and another one named Battlestar Galacticast. And I've even written comics, including a short run on Static Shock. But today we're talking about the history of Milestone, as well as taking a glimpse into the future the publishing initiative started in 1993 by Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cowan, Michael Davis, and Derek T. Dingle to challenge the status quo, how superhero stories were being told, as well as the ones who got to tell them. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff in the next few minutes, but before we do that, let's introduce our panelists. We got Reggie Hudlin, Milestone Media, Dennis Cowan, co-founder of Milestone Media, Jim Lee, chief creative officer and publisher of DC Comics, and Phil Lamar, the voice of everybody under the sun, including Virgil Hawkins, Static Shock. Hey fellas, how are you?
Great.
We're good. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk about this. I mean, it's near and dear to my heart, and I assume it's near and dear to yours. Dennis, can you tell me a little bit about the early days at Milestone?
It actually started at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't remember the year, it's probably like 1990 or something. I'm at Comic-Con. And the idea of doing black superheroes, or doing a group of black superheroes, was something that was on my mind a lot. So I called my friend Michael Davis, who happened to be at the con. And I said, meet me downstairs in the lobby. I mean, we walk around the whole convention, the whole convention area, and I'm pitching him my idea about doing a black comic book company. And Michael said, you crazy, man. There ain't nobody can do no black comic company. No, it could work. It could be a black comic company. So he says, okay, well, who else do you want in? I said, let's call Dwayne. Dwayne McDuffie happened to be at that convention. So I called Dwayne. He met us downstairs in the lobby. The three of us walked around the same block. Serious. And Dwayne, at the end of this long walk, which he didn't want to take, I said, so what do you think? And he said, you're crazy. Nobody's going to do a black comic company. So I'm in. So he said, we knew how to write and draw comic books. Dwayne and I had worked on Deathlock and, various projects at Marvel, but mostly Deathlock. So he knew how to do that. Well, we didn't know about business, but I knew a business guy. It's my friend Derek Dingle that I knew since third grade. He worked at Black Enterprise in management and stuff, so he must know about business. Any more time. It's the truth. So we called Derek, who said we were crazy, but he was in because he's my friend. And that's really how it started. The best thing about Dwayne's involvement early on, when my idea was to do a black comic book company full of black characters, and if black people bought it, great. His idea was to expand that, to make it inclusive to a lot of marginalized people who are represented in comics. He took my idea and just, boom, blew it up to a much bigger tent than it originally was. It expanded our universe and it set us on a path that, we're still following now.
Reggie, talk a little bit about Dwayne McDuffie. I mean, he was one of comics' greatest storytellers, and a gift he would take to animation as well. But talk about, his legacy a bit and his influence and impact on the vision and goals of Milestone.
Well, I mean, first, I want to tell my meeting Milestone story from the outside, which is, I met Dennis, and he was, one of the first comic book professionals I met who was actually my friend. And he would take me to Comic-Cons like He took me to San Diego for the first time. He took me to New York Comic Convention. I didn't know anyone. I'd never been to one. They didn't have comic conventions in St. Louis, where I grew up. So I was just new with all this and very excited. So when they started Milestone, I was excited because I was like, oh, this is a great idea. It's like United Artists. It's like all the, most talented Black folk in the industry coming together to start their own thing. And at the time, when you looked at Def Jam that was happening in music, you saw that same idea being expressed in a lot of different places. The 70s was like Black people getting free, and 80s was time for Black folks to flex. So it was great that the Black folks in the comic industry were flexing. So they invited me to come by their office. And I remember sitting around their desk and talking to Dennis and Dwayne, and these are folks who I was fans of. I remember reading their Deathlock book and like, oh man, you guys killed it on Deathlock. And they were starting their own company, and they were talking about how they would get phone calls from Clarence Thomas, who was a fan of their character Icon. And I was like, what? And like, yeah, we thought it was a prank call. And then we called back, and then they said Supreme Court. And they're like, what? And so it was just a really beautiful idea. But more importantly, they created beautiful characters that would stand the test of time. And for me, coming from the movie business, and we were, fighting our way through, me with House Party and Spike and John Singleton, we were all fighting to make a way. So when I saw these guys fighting to make a way in comics, I was like, yeah, do it. And then they were like, well, Reggie, why don't you come with us? I was like, look, I'm just figuring out this movie thing. I'm a little, maybe I should figure out my day job before I start doing stuff on the side. So I stupidly passed on a chance to join Milestone from the beginning. But what they did was amazing, amazing work.
We did ask him to join us. Like, it was all official and everything. And we kind of tried to pressure him into doing it, and he had to beg off and stuff. But I asked him 5 years later if he could do it, just to see if he had changed his mind, and he had.
You want to buy this Apple stock? Nah, man. I'm leveraged.
I don't want this Tesla stock. Who's going to buy electric?
Why you want a phone? There's no wire to it.
Jim, you were across the street starting up Wildstorm at the time, right?
Yeah, well, a part of Image Comics. It was right around the same time, I think like 92, 93, right?
Yeah.
And it was like a West Side Story, actually. Like, wait, those guys are starting up an imprint? Wait, no. We're starting up an imprint. And actually, a lot of the same kind of thinking, right? It's like we're a bunch of artists. It was United Artists, right? It was a 6, 7 artists that worked at Marvel that basically said, look, we don't want to work for the company anymore. We'll take our, we want to kind of grab destiny by our own hands. And we had the same realization. We have no business experience or skills, but we didn't go to a guy like Derek. We just did it without a business guy. So that was kind of the two different paths that we took initially. But I remember that first Comic-Con when they announced Milestone. They threw a party, and there were no parties at Comic-Con back in the day, right? It was like you just wandered around trying to find like open hotel rooms where people had like, case of beers, and you just kind of hang out. And they actually threw a party at a club, and I'm like, who do these guys think they are? Like, and they were all like dressed up in suits and stuff. Like, what's wrong with our tie-dye jeans and our mullets, and what's going on? You're trying to show us up? It was really interesting. Looking back on it, they were incredible. Like, look, they were thinking beyond just the world of publishing and comics. They wanted to present something that was bigger than that. And they had a very different take on it. And so, yeah, I think I was kind of jealous of the fact that they had style and panache. And, we were just drawing big characters like grimacing and jumping out. So, but that was a really magical time because there was a lot of electricity, a lot of like creativity. And Dwayne was a guy that took a lot of chances creatively with his work. I remember the stuff he did with Epic, Shadowrun. I did some work there just because I liked what he was doing there. And so it was a really great kind of golden era for people going out and doing stuff that was new.
That first Comic-Con when we had that party, Jim is being a little bit disingenuous here because what they did, Image guys introduced us to the public. Remember that. But there's photos of it. The Image crew with us, we're all in suits. but the Image guys didn't have no suits on. And they're
We're lucky to have a shirt on, honestly. That's the truth. That's a separate panel, but that's the truth.
No. I remember thinking we chose the suits and all that.
Yeah.
Because we thought, okay, the Image guys and everything was Image, they could wear T-shirts and stuff because they're white dudes. They could do it on
muscly, yeah.
Right? We have to we're gonna have to try extra hard to be taken half as seriously. Yeah. So that's why we wore the suits and stuff. None of us.
You guys had passes. It was exclusive. You couldn't just come in and walk in. You actually had to. It was like, what? It was cool. Way ahead of its time, both conceptually, creatively, and marketing-wise, for sure.
That's just brothers at a club.
No time at the Apollo. Phil, how aware were you of Milestone before you took on the role of Virgil Hawkins in the Emmy-winning, Humanitas Prize-winning Static Shock animated series?
Actually, and it's sort of embarrassing, I was not real. I mean, I knew about it because I was a comic book head from way back. The early 90s, I was just out of college trying to make, my bones as an actor. So I didn't have the money to be buying new comics. I was still reading all my old 20-cent stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear about Milestone until after it was launched. And it was like, oh, wait, what? That one day you got an extra $5 in your pocket. Let me go to my local shop. Because, of course, there wasn't the internet, so you didn't have access to information. And I didn't have no subscription to Wizard or nothing. I was trying to date. People forget, there was a time when being a nerd was not cool.
Absolutely.
Crucial.
Right?
Crucial.
Yeah.
So I saw it on the shelves, but I didn't know the story behind it. It's like, ooh, those are characters of color. That's different. This is a cool new look. I've never seen anything like this.
Coming to it from the outside, as you did, who was Virgil to you? Like, what made him special?
To me, Virgil was what I had always wished for as a comic book kid growing up. Black Spider-Man. Because you read those stories, and obviously,
Black
a good
Spider-Man?
story can make you live it, feel it. It doesn't have to look like you. But when it does, it resonates on a whole other level. And for me, the issues of Static, it was so real world. The texture of those stories was so much more removed from the old 1930s. We are exhibiting the world. It felt like a comic book drawn by somebody who lived in a building that I could go into. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that to me was the big difference. It touched on the archetypes that I, as a old school comic book fan, loved and honored, but it also touched on my life as a black man in the real world. Like, I've never had these two things come together before.
Hey, we got a fan question here from Aaron M. Specifically, I think for you, Reggie. Is there any discussion about bringing the Milestone characters to the big or small screens? What's new and what's upcoming in the multimedia front?
Well, one of the things we're really excited about is, we really want to live up to the name of the company, Milestone Media. So when we, spoke with Jim about reviving the Milestone line, we said, look, we all know that this, has been, hit comic books and a hit animated series. It's time to expand back into all those areas and then some. So we're in serious conversations about, as we're launching the comic book series, developing a Static Shock movie. That'll be a theatrical feature film. What we're talking about is unbelievable. We're also talking to all the other divisions of Warner's. For example, the animation department. They make those amazing animated feature films for home entertainment. And we're talking about doing one of those feature films, involving the Milestone characters. We're also looking at new media like podcasts and, doing a series of stories that will be available on podcasts. So you know what? We will deliver Milestone Media wherever you are, on whatever platform you want, whether you're a young kid, whether you're an adult, whether you're a teen, we'll find appropriate stories and get them to wherever you want to consume them.
Well, I'm just saying, for that movie, talk to Scorsese for me, would you? Talk to Scorsese. They got the technology, I can play 14.
Or Static needs a dad.
Fantastic.
How can I get that shirt?
Do you have an extra? Because you gave it to me. what, 25 years ago or something.
Yeah, we're talking about everything and everything and anything under the sun, even YA content, right? This is something that we couldn't envision decades ago, but it's a critical part of the audience, underserved by us, historically. Having YA content out there for the first time was very exciting. And obviously, all the other stuff, the merch, the t-shirts, we get Phil a new t-shirt after all these years. I feel bad you've been wearing the same one for 20 years.
It still fits. That's the thing. What's great is working with Jim, who's had so much success, at Wildstorm, at DC, who really understands the importance of what Milestone means and has been supportive at every part of the process. We were very excited about the future of Static Shock, Icon and Rocket, so many great characters that we feel will exist on all kinds of screens.
Jim, here's another fan question, this time from Daniel Perez. Do you have any future plans to officially distribute the original Milestone titles?
Yeah, I think we've part of this panel is to share those plans. Right now, we're looking at a February of 21 relaunch for the line, and Reggie's going to speak to that a little bit, as well as Dennis. But as far as the back catalog, every single month leading up to February, we're going to release more of the
get
back
ready.
catalog
1 hour
to
for
our digital
Flash.
partners like Comixology and Apple and Google Play. Check it out. It's super exciting, and we'll see you in February.
Dennis, we had a fan question here from Owen Seiler. Will we ever get to see another Static Shock comic again?
Yes, we will absolutely get to see another Static Shock comic book again. Static is the first name everyone mentions anytime there's a Milestone meeting. I want to talk about hardware and everything else. Everyone else wants to talk about Static and what we can do. So that was for Reggie. So yeah, as far as Static Shock's concerned, we're very excited about Static. There's the original OGN, the graphic novel by Reggie Hubman and Kyle Baker, which we're very excited about. But there's also a digital first Static Shock series that's coming out in February. It'll be available digitally first by an artist that we can't name yet, but we're very excited. If we could get him, we'll be so excited. And Reggie's doing excellent scripts. He's also really outlining a lot of what's going on in our series. So the Static Shock series is going to have a lot of input from Reggie. So the short answer is yes, there's going to be more Static Shock comics. In fact, probably more Static Shock comics than even I was prepared for.
Reggie, can you talk a little bit more about what else is in store for Milestone?
Well, it's funny because, everyone has their favorites, and, Dennis is like, hardware, man, we're not respecting hardware. And I love hardware. I love it all. It's funny because in some of the early years, Dwayne McDuffie was says, Reggie, we really need you to write Static. And I'm like, I love Static, but who I love the most, Icon and Rocket. Those are my favorites. I love those characters so much. It's such a unique concept. This man who's actually a 300-year-old alien who's here on Earth, who ends up partnering with a 14-year-old girl from the hood. They end up fighting crime together. Not as sidekicks, as partners. I gotta tell you, the stories that I'm writing and that Dennis Cowan is drawing are unbelievable. I love, looking at the scanner when Dennis's pages come in, and you're like, oh, you make that look cool. Oh, so it's always fun for us to work together, and it's great to do it on characters I love so much.
Working on that was a trip. The first artist we got fell a little bit behind, so I came in and took on a story arc for Icon and Rocket. Very casually, like, yeah, I could do Icon and Rocket, no problem. Then I realized, except for the covers, I had never drawn Icon and Rocket. And like a story, I did the initial design. I did the first cover, right? 2 covers for Icon Rocket. And aside from posters, never drew him again, really, in any significant way. So now I found myself having to draw this character that I really didn't know how he moved and how he really worked. So I had to figure all that out and pretend like I had it in the bag the whole time.
Never let him see you sweat.
But I was sweating that whole job. Icon of Rocket. Why they got me on Icon of Rocket? Where's hardware?
So to recap, a cool Static Shock OGN by Reggie and Kyle Baker, a new ongoing Static digital first comic, an Icon of Rocket comic written by Reggie and drawn by Dennis Cowan. Absolutely no hardware. but also new content. We're talking about new characters being introduced, and we'll see you in February.
Yes, sir.
We gonna have toys now.
Listen, gentlemen, I could not be more excited about the future of Milestone. And I'm so glad you asked me to be part of the panel where I get to get all of this new information. I heard it first. But listen, thank you so much to everybody who showed up today. Thank you to Reggie Hudlin, to Dennis Cowan, to Jim Lee, to Phil Lamar, and thank you to the fans who have been stoking the flames and the fires for more Milestone for decades. So thank you so much to everybody. Be good.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for corralling all this.
Mark. Oh, these are the best horses to have to corral.
Indeed.
I can't wait to see what DC has in store for Static Shock and the rest of the Milestone crew when it returns in February 2021. And now it's time for a little Ask and Tell. We have got more questions from our DC fans. Check it out.
Doom Patrol. I didn't see that show. Mental health.
Looking at the metaphor behind these characters, and I can speak especially for Vic,
Hey,
when it comes to mental health and mental illness, the facade in which a lot of us have just as human beings, and this facade that we put on, kind of, letting everyone believe that we are okay. And I kind of see that as the superhero. I see that as Cyborg. I see that as, the cover up that we will have as humans, period, to be able to essentially hide behind what we really are. And season 2 is testament to, when Vic goes out to try and work on himself and essentially tackle this PTSD and this mental health, he has to, physically, literally come back and take away and remove Cyborg in order to access Vic and Word 2 even having to turn off Grid to be able to access that point of himself. And I feel like that's testament to us as human beings. Just kind of generally, we all have this thing in which we have this facade in which, when someone asks us, are you okay? And really you're not, but you say that anyway. The superhero that we try to put in front of the real version of us and everything that holds, the real meaning of what it means to be a human, which is all of this craziness in which we experience.
Did you know that we receive over 28,000 questions from all over the world for DC Fandome? We love our fans. And while we couldn't answer all of them, we should try to answer as many as possible.
My question is for Breck, and I'd like to ask, what was your first initial reaction seeing the Stargirl suit for the first time? How cool was it?
The first time I ever put on my super suit, it was so empowering. It just my posture changed. It was the first time I truly felt like Stargirl.
2 words your tried and true fan have been chanting. Snyder, cut. Coming up next, don't miss the latest intel surrounding the Snyder Cut's much anticipated release, direct from Zack Snyder himself. Like you, I'm quickly becoming a big fan of this virtual universe. It's not only a great way to connect with other fans around the world, it's also a great escape from reality. And I think we can all agree that movies are one of the greatest escape of all time. Revoicing film make it possible for characters on screen to speak to audiences across the globe in a way that is unique to them. Capisci quello che dico? Okay, listen up and let's meet the many voices beyond the cowl.
Commissioner Gordon!
What is it, O'Hara?
We just got a report. All the Z-grade villains have broken into the energy plant. What are we gonna do, sir?
The only thing we ever do, flip the switch to the bat signal.
Salut, Freeze. Je suis Batman.
Escucha, soy Batman.
Hi, Bruce Wayne.
Cualquiera
Guys, Bat is back!
También un hombre que hace algo tan simple
como calmar y ponerle un abrigo en los hombros a un niño. Y después decirle que no era el fin del mundo.
Sir, aren't you forgetting something?
Nope.
Your cowl.
My what now?
Your armored face disguise?
Fine.
Oh my god, guys.
Hi, everyone. Will Arnett here. I'm
Will
here to talk to you
Arnett.
about two of the most powerful words in the English language. I'm Batman. Batman! Whoa! You're darn right, whoa. Well, I still get chills every time I say that. But you see, here's the thing. Batman doesn't just speak English.
Soy Batman. Je suis Batman. Ich bin Batman.
Now, Batman. Batman speaks dozens and dozens and dozens of other languages thanks to voice actors from all over the world who since he first appeared on screen.
Tu n'es pas la seule à savoir tendre des pièges, ô Vénus.
Lo siento, mi oído de murciélago debe de estar fallándome. That means in their countries, they are Batman.
Don't kill me, man! Je ne vais pas te tuer. Tu vas me rendre un service. Fais ma publicité auprès de tes amis. What are you?
event. And then when you were to kind of give us a little hint or a little something to play along with, and it just really, really ignited us to continue on. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that for me was amazing. It was cool to have this kind of conversation with the fans where I could either, release an image or just say something and just get this response that I could feel this kind of energy exchange that was really, really, really exciting. Do you have a favorite moment from this experience?
I think my favorite moment so far is getting the opportunity to fly out to your event at Pasadena. The Director's Cut weekend was such a memorable event for me and my sons, and something I will always cherish with me. And one of the other things I was just really, really excited to see, and this is just me, and I don't want to make things heavy, but just the opportunity to see the smile on yours and Debbie's face when it was official. It was just really heartwarming to me. And honestly, I did tear up a little bit. I will admit I teared up a little bit, but it's just because it was just a lot of work that paid off. And I'm just excited to see that you guys were really, really happy.
Well, I got to admit that we also, when we heard the news, we all got pretty emotional, and it's been an incredible journey. And for us, one of the amazing parts is that we were able to, interact with and be part of this fan community in an amazing way. And it's changed us and made us, really grateful for being able to have this dialogue and also, frankly, feeling the incredible support for the work that I get to experience, when we see these fan generated events and things that really have nothing to do with selling a movie or doing anything that has to do with commerce. It's really for love, and we feel it. And also the amazing charitable work that you guys, the amount of money you've raised for suicide prevention is just unbelievable. So again, thank you so much. We couldn't thank you enough. So Dexter, thanks.
Thank you so much. It's been our pleasure.
And it's going to be in 4 parts, 1 hour each. So 4 hours of Justice League is coming your way. We're going to work on a way of bundling it together at the end so you can watch it as a single film if that's the way you want to experience it. Also, to all my international fans and everyone watching all over the world, don't worry if you don't have HBO Max, because we're working on a distribution plan. So I promise you're going to get a chance to see it. And if you guys haven't gotten your t-shirt yet, there's still hope. If you go to Into the People, you can get your associate producer shirt. And I want you guys, it all goes to a good cause. So please go grab a shirt if you can. I guess it's time to play the little teaser, because that's why you're really here, to see some footage from the movie, as I promised. So why don't we check that out? So here it is, Justice League.
Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. So I tried to touch. I've told the truth. I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah.
Guy's probably fought hundreds of thousands of other super beings on the other planets he's destroyed, right? And we have to assume he's won.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us. Not us united.
Zack Snyder, man. Zack Snyder.
Amazing, and that's how we do it in the DC fandom.
I'm going to get you with my superhero powers.
Why is he called Robin? Because you don't really see bats and robins together, do you? I suppose they both fly and they both eat insects. Yeah.
I promise not to play jokes on people. I'm quite good at long jump. I spring a bit more than everyone else. I'm quite bouncy.
DC Fandome is the place to be.
Are you ready for more DC fandom debuts? Stick around because we've got The Flash.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. My name is Barry Allen. I am the Flash.
Welcome to DC Fandome. I'm Chancellor Agard from Entertainment Weekly, and this is the Flash panel. Joining me today, we have Grant Gustin, who plays the Scarlet Speedster himself, the Flash, aka Barry Allen. Candace Patton, who plays reporter extraordinaire Iris West Allen. Daniel Panabaker, who pulls double duty as both Caitlin Snow and Frost. Carlos Valdez, who plays the ever-quotable mechanical engineer Cisco Ramon. Daniel Nicolay, who plays meta attorney Cecile Horton. Brandon McKnight, who plays enthusiastic scientist Chester P. Runk. And Kayla Compton, who plays Central City citizen intern Allegra Garcia. Also, we have showrunner and executive producer Eric Wallace. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Before we talk about season 7, I do want to go back through season 6, which I think was a really unique year for the show. Because Eric, you decided to split the season into 2 parts. Looking back on it now, how successful do you feel that was? How effective was that?
I thought it was really successful. In the first half with Bloodwork, we were able to really drill down on Barry's story and on dealing with crisis. In the back half, we're able to really drill into Iris's character and to Citizen and Eva's story. And then we'll see at the top of season 7 how it all comes together.
And for the cast, especially the ones who've been here since season 1, in the moment, could you feel something different about the show and how it was structured?
I loved it. I was a big fan of it. I'm really glad that we got to, it gives the opportunity to really flesh out those villains a little bit more and not spread them out so much that you feel like you're sort of filling in episodes to get to the end.
Yeah, I think a show needs to change in order to grow.
As an actor, too, it prevents fatigue throughout the season. 22 episodes is a long time, 9 months. And I think for us having this kind of break in the season where a new sort of storyline emerges kind of puts us in a headspace of, feeling reinvigorated with the work.
The first half of the season was very much about sort of Barry's walk up to crisis and him dealing with his mortality.
I don't know how you're doing this. Real or not, I'm coming for you.
Grant, for you, what was it like sort of dig into Barry in that way in the first half of the season, especially with episodes like The Last Temptation?
That was a really special episode to me. And I think it really was a good episode to show just kind of the culmination of all of his emotions and the conflict kind of boiling over. I just felt really lucky with all the material they gave me in The Last Temptation of Barry Allen.
And on the flip side, we dug a lot more into Iris as a journalist. For you, Candace, what was it like to sort of explore that side of Iris in more detail?
It was a long time coming. I think we've kind of teased Iris being this ace reporter since season 1. It's always kind of been put on the back burner. So it was a nice treat to finally have it be at the forefront of her character arc for the season. It's such a male-dominated cast. I love these guys, but having more women and having this kind of Charlie's Angels reporter team, it was really cool. It brought a new energy to the show, and I hope we carry on with that in the next season.
And on the subject of new things, this season we got 2 new characters with Chester and Kayla, and we have 2 now series regulars coming into season 7. How was your experience sort of coming into a show that's sort of 6 seasons in and sort of finding your way through it?
I was intimidated for sure. I knew these guys were a family and I was nervous. Danny was one of the first people that made me feel so welcome. Aww. We were shooting a scene and she just took me under her wing instantly. And I remember she was like, "Do you want to take a picture?" And I was like, "Do I want to take a picture with you?" Yes. And then I got the courage to ask other people to take pictures because she had made me feel so welcome instantly.
I was a big fan. I am a big fan of the show, and I watched the show. The Flash is my little sister's favorite superhero. So we've watched the show since season 1. So I came in already understanding what the show was about, what the show's tone was, stuff like that. For me, it was more so just meeting everybody and trying to find my spot and my place without interrupting or changing too much.
And Brandon, I know in the past, Eric has talked about how he views Chester, it's sort of like him, is enthusiasm about science and all that. I'm curious, 1, what conversations did you have with Eric about sort of crafting this performance as Chester? And 2, did you base any of it on Eric himself?
I remember the first day on set, I met Eric, and I remember him just telling me this guy's brain works faster than his mouth. He can't speak as quickly as he thinks.
Hey, what up, party people? Welcome to a world where all are welcome and anything, including the scientifically impossible, can and probably will happen.
Kayla, with Allegra, I'm curious, coming into the show, how did you sort of connect with your character and in what ways did you relate to her?
The way I look at Allegra is that she just wants to fit in and belong somewhere. And I just super resonate with that. Family is really important to me. My friendships are really important to me. And belonging to something or having a community is just really important to me. So that was one of the first things that I connected with Allegra. She just wants a family and she wants to belong, and she hasn't had that previously. And so I just super resonate with her on that level.
For you, I guess
you're in the Flash family now.
Yeah.
Danielle, this season 6 was all about sort of Frost finding herself or finding a way to craft a life for herself. For you, what was it like to explore that journey with this character?
It was great. It was really fun to get to explore Killer Frost as a real character and a person and a human being with feelings and emotions, and not just necessarily this person who, pops up for a fight and then disappears and we don't really know her perspective on things. So it was really fun to get to dig in and flesh that out and have a little bit of fun with it. Like Candace was saying earlier, it's nice to have the variety after, 6 seasons and we're rapidly approaching 150 episodes.
On the subject of change, this season for Cecile, she sort of decides to become a meta attorney for metahumans. For you, what has it been like to see this character evolve from when she was initially introduced to where she is now?
It's a blast for me because I got to be a regular person, then I got to be a telepath, and then I got to be an empath, and then now I am a meta defense attorney. And then from what I understand, there's going to be some shifts next season too.
Is there something that you're hoping to do that you haven't gotten a chance to do on the show yet?
I have always, this is not news to anybody, Eric will not be surprised, I have wanted Cecile to be bad, just a little bit bad, forever, so just a little bit, because she's so good. I would have a lot of fun playing like bad Cecile. Unfortunately, Eric does not believe me to be as good of a writer as I am an actor. So he continues to not buy my pitches.
But I listen. I am listening.
And Carlos, this season 5 ended with him giving up his powers, and this season was very much about him figuring out what his role on the team was without those powers. After 5 seasons of Cisco's vibe, what was it like for you to explore this Cisco in a new place like this?
I don't think he regrets that decision, but I think it definitely haunts him. I'm actually feeling a lot like Cisco these days because, I'll have a fan that I'll see on the street or whatever. They'll be like, "Yo," but vibe though. Come on. And I have to imagine Cisco's probably feeling very similarly. I know.
The beginning of season 6 actually had an episode called Kiss Kiss Breach Breach, which is Cisco-centric. And included on the DVD set coming out in August is a black and white version of that episode. And we have a clip from that episode. So let's check it out.
You murdered my daughter!
No, I didn't do it. I swear.
Liar!
You have to believe me.
Leave him alone!
Where did you get that?
In Cisco's workshop. I don't know how it got there.
I do. He just murdered my daughter with it.
Wow, right?
Pretty cool,
so exciting.
Very cool.
Carlos, an episode was so Cisco-centric about him dealing with Gypsy's death. What was it like leading the A-plot?
So gratifying to my budding narcissism.
On that note, we also have a sizzle reel for what's to come in season 7. When we last left off season 6, Eva McCulloch had gotten what she wanted, and she framed Sue. And the sizzle will sort of tease what's to come when the show returns. So let's check out that clip.
I've achieved my goal. This company is all mine. You lost your speed? You're not much of a threat, are you? You just stay out of my way, Flash.
Iris is my wife. I have to save her.
What are you? I am a product of your broken mind.
How much speed do you have left?
Enough for a few hours. I need your help to build an artificial speed force. That's how I can get my speed back.
I was an empath too, only I never held back. What did you do to me? Imagine what you'd become if you weren't so afraid. This time, no one is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your husband. There's only 2 options in this place. Survival or madness. Kind of real. You lied.
Yeah, I lied.
Oh, frack.
There's a supersonic jet about to crash over the city.
And the Flash isn't fast enough to stop it.
Eva can move anywhere, through any mirror in the universe, in the blink of an eye. She's faster than I am, and somehow I'm supposed to stop her?
I have unfinished business and a whole world to liberate.
We need a plan. We've all lost so much this year. Some things can't be taken. We still have our will to fight for those we love.
Keep watching. Keep trying to break me. Because I'm not afraid of the woman that I am today. But you are, Eva.
Team Flash needs as many hands on deck as possible.
Well, now, Flash.
We go save Iris and our friends.
Get everybody back.
Eric, can you talk about what we're seeing there?
When we had the shutdown happen, as unfortunate as it was, we were on the last day of filming for what would have been the 20th episode of last season, which now will become partially the first episode of season 7. So we did have 85% of the footage that we were able to use. Plus, also, we knew where we were going already in season 7. So even though it's only footage really from one episode, pay attention to the way it's presented. It's actually huge spoilers all over the place.
And that sizzle had a lot of Iris in it, a lot of Iris in the Mirrorverse. Candace, I mean, can you sort of, in your mind, I guess, how do you think her time in the Mirrorverse has sort of affected her?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see when she comes out, and I believe she will come out very soon when we pick up season 7. It'll be very interesting to see how she's been affected by being kind of stuck in this maddening world with this super villain.
Preview showed that sort of Barry is sort of working as hard as he can to get his powers back, get his speed back. I mean, for you, do you think Barry has enjoyed any part of not having his speed at this point, or do you think he really does really misses it, I guess?
Yeah, no, I think he really just misses it. I don't think, especially with Iris being trapped in the Mirrorverse at the moment, and then Eva being a factor, I don't think any part of him has been like, well, I guess I'll just enjoy this downtime while I can. I think he genuinely not just wants his powers back, but he feels that he needs them back. And he's also started to feel that they define him, and what is he without them.
Big bads for season 7. Eric, what was it about Goth that you're like, oh, there's something there for that?
I want to make sure that new fans, especially new young fans who are reading the comic book right now, are welcomed to the show. So it's not just Silver Age villains and Bronze Age villains. There might be a young girl or a young boy who is reading those Flash comics right now and going, where's my villain, my generation's villain?
And with that, let's move on to some fan questions. Last season, we got to see some romantic moments between Barry and Iris, even though it was Mirror Iris. Will we get to see more of that with the real Iris this season? And this question comes from Jamaica.
They will find their way back to each other eventually. A lot of the romance and the chemistry between Grant and I has always been something even deeper than that. It's the way we look at each other and the way the characters are written.
For Grant, which from all over the world wanted to know this, when will we get to see the Flash in the iconic gold boots?
This might be a question for me, but really it's for Eric, because I don't know if this is saying too much, but if it were up to me, it would have been like 2 seasons ago. So,
well, that'll do it for us today. Thank you all for joining me for this panel. I had a really good time. For everyone watching, please make sure you tune into The Flash when it returns in 2021. The Flash, the complete 6th season, is available now on digital and comes out on Blu-ray and DVD on August 25th.
So, this is the DC Fandome. Wow, what a cool place to be. You think you've seen it all? Not even close. Another big game announcement is on the way. Plus, panel discussions with cast of Black Adam, Aquaman, and the Batman. And now for some more of your fan questions. Check it out.
I would like to. I mean, honestly, as a nerd, seeing the whole table of superheroes, like, I got chills, and it would be cool to be like Justice League out. You know, that would be awesome. So I would love for that to happen. And as far as Henderson, you know, I don't know. I was not a fan of him going. So I mean, that still sucks, to be perfectly honest. So I would love for him to be revived, but I will go on record that I wanted him to not die.
Comics have always been an aspiring art form. Our characters have been interpreted in so many ways over the years by incredible artists, including you. Let's take a look at some of your amazing art created by our talented fans right now. Wow, such amazing art. And did you see that Black Adam art piece in there? I wonder what else might be in the store for Black Adam.
I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. This is the one. This is the one that's going to change everything. This is Black Adam. "5,000 years ago, Kahndaq was a melting pot of cultures, wealth, power, and magic. Yet most of us had nothing, except for the chains around our necks. Kahndaq needed a hero. Instead, they got me. I did what needed to be done, and they imprisoned me for it. Now, 5,000 years later, I'm free. And I give you my word. No one will ever stop me again." All right, what's up, everybody? And so happy to be joining you guys at the first ever DC Fandome. You guys are watching from around the world. You're excited. I'm excited. And I got to tell you, first of all, I got to give props to my two friends, Jim Lee and Boss Logic, who teamed up with me to create that really amazing piece that I was so proud to show you guys. Just to give you guys a little sense of the Black Adam movie that we plan to create and deliver for you. Now, I wish I could show you more, a lot more, but as you can imagine, we're still in the very early processes of this creation. But I can promise all of you this, all of you around the world right now watching, I can promise you this, I give you my word, that we are gonna go beyond your wildest expectations. And I already know this because your expectations are high, so are mine. Look, at the end of the day, I truly have one boss that I aim to please, besides my wife and my daughters. And that boss, of course, is you guys, the fans, the audience. Always audience first in my book. All right, so I know you guys got a lot of questions. I'm gonna do my best to answer as many as I can. Let's get this show on the road. Here we go. All right, the first question comes in from June Rodriguez of the United States. The question is, how powerful can we expect Black Adam to be? Well, great question, Jude. Thank you for asking that question. As we all know, Black Adam is one of the most powerful superheroes, anti-heroes, villains, whatever you want to call Black Adam. He is one of the most powerful in the DC universe. But as we all know, the superheroes, they have to exhibit a little bit of restraint when it comes to taking care of the bad guys, if you will, or taking care of the people who are opposite them, who are opposing them, who are in their way. But this idea that you could take all of Black Adam's powers and he does not practice restraint, that makes for a really powerful combination, and one that's explosive, one that's very dangerous, and one that is ultimately, I think, very likable, to me at least. All right, next question comes in from Jaden Marvel of Singapore. The question is, if you could take any DC character to join you in an adventure, who would it be and why? The number one choice on who I would love to take with me on an adventure would be Wonder Woman. And I'll tell you why. No, I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, of course you would, Rock. No. Look, Gal is my friend. She's a very good friend of mine. But the character of Wonder Woman is one that I have such a tremendous amount of respect for. I've always thought that this combination of Wonder Woman and Black Adam would make an incredible pairing. So this idea that we would go on an adventure together is something very cool. The other part to this answer is, I always thought that it might be cool to hang out with Superman. That would be cool, right? I mean, we're kind of similar in terms of our powers, our strengths, our speeds.
Because look, at the end of the day, you never know. Black Adam and Superman could become friends. Or they won't. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. All right, this next question comes from Caleb Hammocks from the UK. The question is, out of all the characters you could have played, what is it about Black Adam that stuck out to you that makes him unique? It's a great question, Caleb. Thank you very much. Caleb or Caleb, I hope I pronounced your name right. As many of you know, Black Adam has been with me for a very, very long time. This has been a project that has been in development for a very long time, over 10 years plus with myself, our producer, Hiram Garcia, who's the president of $7 Productions. I mean, this has been in our DNA and in our wiring for such a long time. One of the main things that I always loved and admired about Black Adam was, number one, he was an anti-hero. He is an anti-hero. I love that. I love that the line is a little blurred. I love that he doesn't toe the mark. I love that he doesn't walk the line. I love that he has his own sense of Black Adam justice. I also love the fact that his origins are that of a slave. When the origins are that of somebody who is enslaved, his people enslaved, his family enslaved, and he's felt the burdens and the pressures of a larger entity holding him down until he can't take it anymore. And when you come from that place, it's just a different energy and a vibe, different mana that you have. So I've always loved that about Black Adam, which informs how Black Adam operates, how he sees justice, how he delivers justice. And I've always appreciated that about Black Adam. Okay, this next great question is from Ayush Butola from India. I hope I pronounced your name right. So from India, thank you for this question. Will you stay faithful to the fact Black Adam, at the end of the day, is a ruthless keeper of justice and not a stereotypical villain or a hero? I love this question, and my stripped away, honest answer is yes. You know, as we all know, there's many variations and iterations of Black Adam that we have all fallen in love with over the years. Over the years. And what I can promise you is the Black Adam that I feel in my heart is the right one to root our story in the beginning, this origin story. This is a character that will possess all the qualities that we have loved, regardless of what variation of Black Adam you've loved, which he is ruthless. He's a ruthless keeper of justice. He is the judge, the jury, and the executioner, and he believes in an eye for an eye, and he will always do everything he can to protect his people, more so protect his family. So that is my answer, and thank you for your question. All right, so here we go. This next question, it's a video question coming in via video. All right, cool, roll it.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Dwayne? How you doing, man? My question is, I just want to know how you're feeling about the fact that I'm coming for your squat game. I'm just curious.
Well, you know what? Look, I'm glad, Noah, that you said that, because there's a difference between coming for my squat game, different than, Adam Smasher coming for Black Adam's squat game. It's a big difference. So you know what? I welcome it. Dude, good to see you, man. How you been?
Good to see you, too. I've been really good, man. Excited to be here. Excited to be a part of the team, man.
Man, it's so cool to have you be part of this team and to bring Adam Smasher to life, JSA to life, to bring this entire universe that we're going to create together to life. Well, talk to me a little bit about your workouts. I know you've been training hard despite us being locked down. How has that been going? Let the fans know.
It's been really good. There's a lot of different precautions that we take now, but it's been a lot of training outside, on the tarmac or like on the turf, a lot of sled work. A lot of hypertrophy training, if you will. But it's just grinding. You know what that's like, man. It's just a lot of hard work and just trying to, do the best that I can to be ready to come and deliver when it's game day.
Man, you're going to crush this role. I can't wait. I love that you said that you're training on the tarmac. Right. So, and the fact that you're on the tarmac means it's about 120 degrees on that tarmac.
Oh, it's warm down here.
Well, man, really quickly, I know that a lot of fans are super excited that we are introducing JSA after all these years. And what is it about Adam Smasher, which, by the way, is one of my favorite characters, especially, you know, when you see him just grow so large and everything is like just so badass and, yes, and powerful. What is it about the character that attracted you?
You know, man, I think Al, because, you know, the real name Al Rothstein, I feel like he really has something to prove, especially with his lineage of where his grandfather was kind of, you know, a villain, and he's got quite a spirit to just help. And what I love about the character is that he goes through this transformation throughout the film, where I think he's not expecting the world of being a superhero, because this is, you know, his first mission. It kind of just like hits him across the face, and so it's this journey that he goes on of what it means to be a superhero, and he gets to really see someone like Black Adam, who takes a different approach, clearly, to, you know, solving a problem or fighting, you know, bad guys. And it's an exciting character. It's a young character. It's a new, fresh face. And I don't mind being the size of the Eiffel Tower or the Empire State Building. That'd be pretty tight.
You know, I've seen some of the early like previs and renditions, and I got to tell you, it's so cool to see Adam Smasher next